Hello, so today we are going to talk about the CLIL methodology, and CLIL is an European approach that was first launched in 1994, and it came to public because of the need not only by the educators but also by the politicians that they found that they needed to integrate the learning and make not only the content learning but also the language learning, to mix it and make it more effective, the learning process for students. And so for that, the CLIL works with the 5 C's that stand for content, community, communication, cognition, and competence. So it's always important to have in mind these 5 C's when you are planning a CLIL class, because as always, when you are in traditional teaching, you also worry about the content, and so you have a logical development of the area the students have been working on, and you always build the knowledge by what the students already know. But also it's really important to think about the communication, because the CLIL students, they will use the language to learn and not learn about the language. So the focus is the content, not the language. So it's always important to adapt the communication for what the students need, that is to learn some competences and develop these competences about the content they are supposed to learn. And as the context that CLIL was born in Europe, in the European context, it was really important to bring together the differences of the students. So the community part and the cultural part of the class is really important to be thought about and be developed and discussed, brought into the planning of the teacher, and it has to be integrated within the activities the students develop during the class. So they need to see how useful will be the content they are learning to their cultural community. And the cognition, it's always important to think about the Bloom's taxonomy that really helps us to think about how the students can develop more abstract, complex, and analytical questioning in the classes. So CLIL can be used in very different contexts, because if you want to teach content and you want to teach language, why do you need to teach them separately? You can integrate them in a CLIL class, and the students will develop way better in both fields, in both the content and in both the language skills. So the context you can apply CLIL are really wide. So it depends on what are your expectations, what are your goals. And the benefits of using CLIL is that you can prepare your students to the work market actual needs that are very wide these days. They need to be prepared to communicate and to integrate in the community. They need to be prepared to develop their critical thinking, to be autonomous, to look for the information, to improve their skills, and also to learn new knowledge, to look for new knowledge, and also very important to use technology, which is very important in these days. And the CLIL methodology really helps in these points, in the developing of the communication, of the technological skills that the students need to be well fitted, or to be well located in the work market. In the assessment, it is really important to have in mind that you need to assess both the content and the language competences. So it's really useful to have to work with a criteria. By the criteria, you can both assess students and also present the students what is the assessment grid you are going to use with them. So after you assess them, you can also put the information that they can improve later. So the students can work with the criteria and can see where they have strengths and they have failures, or they can make some improvements. So it's really good to work with a grid of criteria, and you can write down the competences you expect and where you want your students to go, and then you can show them if they achieved that or not, and you can help them achieve that in a later assessment. And so it's really good to work with the CLIL methodology, because it really prepares a student to be in a globalized world where he or she can deal with all the differences and can be intuitive, can be adaptive, flexible, to not only work but also to be a citizen in a world that is always changing and always building up new knowledge and new technologies, and so that the students can feel confident to be dealing with these new technologies, and not only technologies but also our way of relating to each other also changes as the technology changes. So it's really good to be able to integrate not only your thinking, your cognitive competences, but also your linguistical competences. So it's really good to work with the CLIL methodology, because you can work with both of these fields that are really important to form you and to prepare you to deal and to live in the modern world. Not only to be a good professional, but also to be a citizen and to be able to communicate and to integrate with the world, with different cultural backgrounds and etc. Thank you.